Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
It's Dr. Homebrew. That's right. Dr. Homebrew, the one and only. I wonder if this is probably the only show on the internet, radio, TV land that you can send your beer into and have mastered BJCP judges judge it. Not just some fat dicks with flat-brimmed hats and, opinions. These guys are relatively thin dicks, and they have opinions. So it's a whole thing. We got a whole new concept going on here in Dr. Homebrew for like 1,200 years.
It's all about opinions these days anyway, really.
It's all opinions these days,
facts,
guys.
That kind of shit doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Not much.
You're right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Homebrew on this rainy Northern California night. It's crazy. I thought Keith's saying I thought we were done with all this crap, but we're not. We're not done with it. We're getting rained on, but that's all right. We got some homebrew to deal with. But before we get to that, I want to thank our sponsor, 5 Star. You can go to 5starchemicals.com, learn about all their products because they make the best products, not some of the best cleaning and sanitizing products out there. And I'm excited to hang out with these people in NHC in a couple months.
Yeah, looking
hang
forward
out
to
at the 5 Star booth and talk about cleaning and sanitation and all that kind of fun stuff.
They always have the cleanest booth, too.
Imagine they have the dirtiest booth in the world.
Just covered with grunge. Yeah. Hey, guys.
Yeah, just terrible.
Get your beer equipment nice and clean.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Step on over here. Oops, you got dirty just walking in.
Let me help you with that. No, they're great people. They're good to hang out with. So if you're going to NHC and you run into them, go get them a beer. Look, let me tell you. Working these booths at these trade shows and stuff for 12, 13, whatever years.
Like the BN booth?
Like the BN booth, like the More Beer booth, the Grog Tag booth for a little bit there. It's tough, especially when you want to go drink beer, but during the sessions, everyone comes in and talks to you, and so it's tough to get out and get beers, man. And that's what you're here to do. You're here to hang out, but you're also here to drink beer. So go offer to get them some beers, man. You might get a free thing. I don't know.
It's a good conference to be at anyway, at a booth, because it is about beer. Like how many stupid work conference. Well, I shouldn't say that on the radio, or the stupid work conferences I go to, like marketing automation conferences. Like you're not getting beer there, so
no.
It's I wish someone could bring me a beer while I'm there at a booth, but
that'd be great, dude.
Yeah,
but, probably go to more events.
Yeah, or you can go to the Star Stand booth and get your glass filled up with. I'm sorry, the
5 Star booth.
5 Star booth to get your glass full of Star Sand. That's always a
refreshing. Clean your pipes, man. We have a good show for you today. We have who do we have? We have Joe coming up here first, and then we have Chris. Joe has a Sweet Stout, and Chris has a cream ale. So we're going to look forward to doing that. And in addition to the $40 Grog Tag, at least your beer will look good gift certificate, we are giving away a beer bug tonight.
Another beer bug.
Another beer bug. So we're gonna beer bug people out on this show. I swear to God, it's gonna be amazing.
The grog tags are a good prize too.
Grog tags are a great prize, man. It's I love those things.
A beer
man.
sign for your garage.
Do whatever, man. None of this taping labels to the bottle kind of a thing, man. Okay, let me get Joe on the line here. How have you guys been? It has been quite a while.
Oh, man, we brewed together last week. I went to Keith's house, and we brewed a beer. We brewed what was supposed to be like a 2.5 IPA, because we know how much you like IPAs. We're trying to make one that you would like the best.
Yeah.
But it ended up being more of just kind of a higher end double IPA, but not to the borderline between double and triple that we wanted it to be.
Oh no!
I think there were two factors. One is that we were drinking, which I don't do when I brew usually, but
I blame that on me.
Yeah, I do that too. But it also was really windy, and this weather has been kind of sucky for I was going to brew tomorrow night. I think it's going to be like 50 mile per hour winds. So I'm like, I'm not going to do this again. Yeah, but I brew outside, so it was actually
brutal.
really.
Yeah, we kept turning. You turn the heat up, and it would start almost boiling over, but then it would like reach the top of the kettle, and it would just have this stasis of foam, like almost wanting to jump out, but not quite.
Really?
Then you turn it down, and it almost stopped boiling at all. And
It was like a 20-gallon. It was a 20-gallon kettle with like 14 gallons in it, so it wasn't like we were like lacking in space for it to to boil. It was just
it's a weird balancing act.
We kept walking inside to get beers. I guess that was part of the. Someone just been standing outside controlling the propane for 90 minutes. Then we could have maybe done it right. But
I partially blame Keith, though. He did want me to taste all his beers and the bad ones especially, and tell him what he should throw out. But
right.
I don't like to throw anything out. I'm weird like that.
Yeah, I'll take it from my
sour it or
my
something
sour project.
Yeah. You know me.
Joe. We got you, Joe?
Yep.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for joining us here on this lovely evening, talking about your beer, man. I'm excited for it. I like stouts in general. Haven't had too many sweet stouts. Is this something that you've done numerous times before, or you said, fuck it, let's just brew one?
Yeah, I just decided to brew one, put a little bit of chocolate nibs in there, see if I can get a little chocolate flavor in there.
Oh, awesome.
What I was going for.
Awesome. How long you been homebrewing, man?
Sauce.
About 8 years.
Okay, perfect. Are you kind of a darker beer guy anyways?
No, I go for anything. I just figured this is something different for me.
Okay, all right. Yeah, see, I'm a darker beer. Like most of the beers I brew are darker. So just curious if we were kindred spirits.
We noticed the hop on the cap, so we figured you probably like hops too.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, that threw everybody. We're like, wait a minute.
It's a hoppy dark beer?
Yeah. Okay, well, Brian, why don't you start us off with Joe's Sweet Stout?
It's not a black IPA. We've established that. Boy, yeah, just the first whiff of it tonight, I get a little soy sauce in there, but it's had a kind of a sharp cocoa in the aroma. I definitely got I didn't see that there was any cocoa nibs declared, but I do definitely get some cocoa in there. I feel like I'm getting a touch of a light kind of spiciness in there, some kind of a light phenolic that's a little distracting, but the esters are pretty low. No obvious hops, as it really shouldn't have. I don't know if it's some of the things in the way, but it seems to lack some of the depth in the malt that I'd want. Some of the really rich chocolatiness and the light roastiness and the nuttiness and some other things and that you'd want to have in there. They're kind of masked by the other things that are coming out on top of that. A little sharp in the aroma. I didn't get any DMS or diacetyl though. I thought it might be possible. There's a little bit of green apple in there. I was going to ask Keith about that. That might be some of the sharpness I'm getting too. Appearance-wise, it's a nice medium brown. I thought it was a little bit light for the style, but you could kind of see through it a little more than a lot of the dark ones. In these glasses, it looks okay though. In my Brewing Network glass at home, it's a little thinner, so maybe it was.
It's probably the glass.
Blame the BN glass.
I would.
Seems fairly clear. Had a low tan head that stuck around fairly well, and finer and a few larger bubbles. The head, you can kind of rouse it up. It's not too hard to bring it back around. Flavor-wise, I'm getting a medium malty sweet note. It's kind of cocoa-like and what do we call kind of a light diner coffee note behind that. Phenolic is pretty low in the flavor, so maybe what I was getting as a phenolic kind of spiciness in the nose was maybe some spicy alcohol or something else. So it was just a little different in the flavor than the nose. It's actually more, I enjoy the flavor a little bit more. It's definitely balanced the malt, and the pepper is kind of low and out of the way. It's not like really green peppery in the flavor. Finish is medium dry. Fermentation character seems okay. It's not like the cleanest ale ferment, but it's like you might use a little more. Well, we'll get to feedback in a bit, but something's been left behind here from that, the acetaldehyde kind of thing, and maybe a little sharpness from some alcohols. There's hints of spice, and malt lingers, albeit dryly in the aftertaste. It's not as sweet as I would hope. And there's no diacetyl or anything in there, so it's not like a lot of defects in there. Just a lot of these things are real subtleties I'm trying to point out, but it's got an interesting flavor overall, and it's mostly the chocolate is there, but there's some other things that are kind of lacking. Body-wise, it feels pretty medium full-bodied, I would say, and slightly creamy and smooth despite the sharpness in the aroma and a little bit in the flavor. It's got a low warmth, no obvious astringency. It's not very hot or biting at all. It feels pretty good on the tongue. Medium carbonation, that's fine. Yeah, so overall, it's an interesting attempt at a sweet stout. It had fairly pleasant flavor and a lot of other positives. It just got lost a little bit in some of the sharpness of the aroma and that little green pepper and soy sauce and acetaldehyde thing. All just subtle things that kind of blend together to kind of detract from the nice malt flavor that is there, especially in the aroma. The beer could be allowed to finish a bit sweeter. But yeah, kind of find a way to back off some of the sharper components there. I think mainly just taking good care of your yeast. And if there's a little spiciness in there, avoid any contamination with wild yeast that might be in there. But, just give it a big healthy pitch of your intended yeast strain and get it going happily and keep it at the right temperature, oxygenate, all that fun stuff. I'm sure you know what you're doing, and we'll find out that he's got like way more advanced equipment than either of us has. But, just I would be careful too with the water and the mash pH and avoid letting it get too low and acidic. And just kind of work on the fermentation practices there. But I liked the beer. It's a good beer. I gave it a 30 points out of 50. So it's tasty. And I'm kind of I felt like maybe I was being too picky and harsh when I was judging last night. But yeah, it's got a lot of interesting flavors to it. I just wanted to point all of those out. And the way they're melding it's not entirely unpleasant. So it's a good beer.
Awesome. Keith?
That was some very strong judging there to lead off the night there, Brian. I thought you did a really good job.
I try. There you go.
I think we were really pretty much on the same page. I did get a lot of chocolate. I didn't know there was any cocoa in it at all. So that was, now, I thought so. That was my guess, but there was nothing on the obviously on what we were given.
It comes into focus. It makes sense.
Okay, but yeah, so lots of chocolate. Maybe just a light sweetened coffee. I got a hint of green apple, acetaldehyde, which you were talking about as well on the nose. No hops. That's okay for style. Not really any other fermentation flaws other than the acetaldehyde. As it warmed, it got more and more chocolate. It got stronger, and the esters were generally pretty low as well. Color was dark brown, nearly opaque, off-white head. There really wasn't much of a big head on the pour, but Brian, I think that was a good point about if you swirl it, the head does sort of reform. It's interesting with the chocolate in it. How much does that impact head retention initially too? Is something to think about that you kind of have to deal with chocolate. Clarity, it seems to be pretty good for it's a dark beer, but you can still. I can see even now, the little left in my glass, that it's pretty darn clear. Flavor, sweetened coffee and cocoa again with a light sourness. I get a little bit of a woody flavor. The chocolate's actually very strong for this style. I thought it was a little over the top. At this point, I'm starting to wonder how much chocolate's in here, or is there chocolate in here again when I was tasting it last night. Very low roast, that's okay. Balance is toward the sweet, but not cloyingly so. No hop flavor, bitterness. I think the bitterness is just enough. I think that was well done there. It's low, but it's supporting just to kind of break up the sweetness a little bit. Mouthfeel, medium low carbonation, okay for style. I thought the body was medium low. It seemed a little bit light. I'd like to see a little more body in this beer. No astringency and just a slight warming. Overall impression, I really enjoyed drinking this beer. I thought the sourness was one thing I would look at closely first, just because the pH. Again, I struggle with this a lot with our water here in California where I live, struggling to get the pH up enough with a dark beer. So that's something I would look at. It's not crazy. It's still enjoyable. I thought this beer actually would go really well with like a piece of chocolate cake or something that is sort of rich. It's not a super rich beer on its own. It's kind of soft, I think, in a way. and not super sweet. It's more like a bitter sweet chocolate sort of flavor to it. I think that would actually go well with like a piece of cake. Beyond that, I thought, to make it its own beer and really stand out, I would give it a little more body. Maybe I think about adding some other specialty malts. And I have the question mark here, really, of just like, how's it, if you really want to think about putting this in a competition, how's it going to do with that much chocolate in it? I'd maybe dial that back a little bit too. It seems a little bit obvious. If Brian and I could both pick it out, then it's probably a little bit high in terms of how much chocolate's in here. But overall, I enjoyed it. Really, I did like drinking it. I gave it a 33.
Awesome. Yeah, the thing about nibs, it's not chocolate. Yeah. Actually, so you hear nibs, and it took me for a while to wrap my head around this. It's more like a green bell pepper smell. Like once you said it and I smelled it, I was like, that's the classic nib aroma where it's like tanniny astringent or something in the aroma.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, what I was getting as the green pepper thing in there was definitely from the nibs, the plant matter,
and maybe that doesn't really jive well with the sweetness or something.
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
Okay,
it's kind of. Yeah, playing off it in a weird way.
Okay. Well, it's time for Brian's favorite segment. Let's hit your recipe. Joe, if you got that in front of you, man.
Yeah. Basically, it's just the Sweet Stout recipe at a Brewing Classic Styles. I used... actually, I think I bumped up the grain a bit. Yeah, I used 10 pounds of... Thomas Fawcett Marisada. I used a pound of lactose, a pound of black patent, 0.75 pounds of Crystal 80, and that's it. And then for the hops, it's a 1.5 ounce edition of East Kent Goldens at 60 minutes.
5-gallon batch. Yeah.
The 6 gallons.
6, okay. Yeah.
What do you guys think of that recipe? What could he change on a little bit?
Recipe sounds pretty good. What about the nibs? When did you add those?
I added them, I let it sit for 2 weeks, and then I put the nibs in. I transferred it to a secondary with the nibs for like a week. Okay.
Yeah, you pulled a lot of character out of those in that week. That definitely came through.
And JP, you were talking about nibs, I think, in one of our last show or the show before that, and you had a recommendation in terms of temperature and maybe time on those?
Definitely time and amount. So I used to do like 2 to 4 ounces. Actually, no, 4 to 8 ounces for at least a month. Mm-hmm. How long did you put these in, Joe? I'm sorry, I forgot.
You said a week.
A week. Okay, yeah, definitely not long enough.
But it was more. It was like a pound or something. Was it?
No, it was 4 ounces.
Oh, just 4 ounces. Yeah, okay. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because you put them in and you get that initial. Think of it like an oat cube, right? Where they're kind of layered. So you put the oat cubes in and they kind of start absorbing the beer starts absorbing the flavor from the outside, but it'll take a while to kind of get inside the middle of the wood. And I think it's the same thing with the nibs. So you got to leave them in there for a longer period of time, and you'd start developing these deeper flavors. They say like the oak chips are very one dimensional, and oak cubes are very multi-dimensional because there's layers for it to go through. So I think I can smell the first part. It smells like opening a bag of nibs. Which is great.
And so the outer, sharper part of it.
It's exactly right, yeah. Actually, right now,
to the mellow.
It kind of smells like chocolate chip mint ice cream. I don't know why. Maybe funny. I'm just a fat kid. But so I would. I mean, if you have some in a keg still, or next time you do it, either parse it off, you split it in half, and leave nibs on for longer. I left some on an oatmeal stout for 6 months, and it was it was delicious. It was too much. I think 4 months is the max, but definitely don't be afraid to hang out for a month or two.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get experimental, too, I could see a little vanilla or something going nicely in here, too, mixing with the chocolate flavors.
Yeah. And that would probably up the sweetness a little bit, too. Vanilla tends to do that. It makes it perceive it as more sweet when you have the vanilla.
Yeah, I find myself wanting just a little more sweetness. It's pretty good. It's almost there, but yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and really, if you're looking for chocolate, for the chocolate cocoa, I would just add, chocolate, like cocoa powder.
Sure, yeah.
and try to get that, because I don't know how well the nibs are going to show through in a really deep, complex beer like this. But it's worth a shot.
What kind of yeast did you use, Joe? We didn't talk about that, and how much did you pitch and all that jazz? All that jazz.
It was the WLP 05.
Okay, what is it? The British Ale or something like that?
Yeah, the British Ale, and I did like a liter and change starter on it for about 18 hours.
Okay, that sounds pretty normal. What about water? Do you treat your water at all, or I won't go crazy.
No, and, like I normally don't do dark beers, so I think that might have been the problem. Like for most of my stuff, I just use bottled water, the Palm Springs stuff.
Okay.
And maybe for this, if I use this, I have to do something to bring the acid down a little bit.
Yeah, because
did you notice like
those spring waters are pretty neutral? Yeah, so.
Yeah, not a lot of bicarbonate in that, so you need something to balance the dark malt. And there's other ways to do that, too. I mean, you can add pickling lime or chalk, which is sometimes hard to get in solution, or even some baking soda as well, or even a mix of those. I probably had this conversation last show.
Yeah.
But, sorry. But no, yeah, there's lots of ways to go about that to kind of keep that and the age of the beer too. We didn't talk about that either. How long ago did you brew this?
I brewed it November 6th.
Okay.
That's holding up well then.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And some of that soy sauce, I think it happens to me with my dark beers if I hang on to them for too long.
Yeah.
The dark malts kind of get that flavor after a while. Is it an oxidation thing?
Breaks
or
down into that.
Is it just a factor of that beer?
I've never made soy sauce.
Well, not the real stuff, but
I know it's a fermented product, and I should be ashamed to admit that. But yeah, no, I'm not.
Ferment everything.
I'm not familiar with where that soy, but I would think it might be because soy sauce is usually also pretty, aged, and could be some oxidation of
not
some of the
literal soy sauce. Get out of the literal soy sauce.
No,
field.
But it's the same flavor. It's a
similar flavor.
Same aroma.
I
components.
Think and I don't know if it's the oxidation breakdown of all of those dark malts combined,
or
just an age factor.
Oxidation of some of the darker malt components over time, but not in like a papery, cardboardy way.
No, not at all. In a totally acceptable way for an aged beer. I think, right? I don't know. Anyway, Joe, do you have any questions for these guys?
No, that was about it. That was mostly the water thing, because that's what I noticed, that it had like a tang to it.
Okay. Yeah, just a little acidic. Those dark malts need something to balance them out.
Did it seem that way from the beginning when you first bottled it, or did that develop over time?
No, it seemed like it was there from the beginning. Even the soy sauce, I think I tasted from the beginning.
Yeah. Cool. So you're getting a lot of the same things. Yeah.
Good.
No, it's definitely an interesting beer. Fun to play with the nibs, and keep up the good work. We'll wait for the next batch of this one to come out when you dial it in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, we'll let you go, man.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Cool.
Awesome.
Fun with nibs.
We were talking earlier about Grog Tag. The folks at Grog Tag have been hard at work creating new ways for you to customize your homemade creations. They recently dropped a brand new template on us called Dark Side, and they have just expanded their selection of bottle caps to include red and green options. With all these products ready to receive your great ideas, there's no reason your bottles should be left naked any longer. Cover them up with Grog Tags. Head over to grogtag.com now and enter code BNARMY at checkout to take 10% off your next order. That's grogtag.com. Use code BNARMY. You guys know how to spell that. BNARMY, in case you don't. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and drink more beer. I believe this is a cream ale from Chris. This is Dr. Homebrew. Hang on, we'll be right back.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making. Now, back to the examination.
All right, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Before we get to Chris, just want to let you guys know tickets are now on sale for the 39th Annual National Homebrewers Conference, a.k.a. HomebrewCon. Join your homebrewing comrades this June 15th through 17th in Minneapolis, the city of lakes, for 3 unforgettable days of learning, camaraderie, and delicious beer. I would put delicious in air quotes, but that's just me. Space is limited, so be sure to register now at homebrewcon.org. Actually, it says HomerBooCon, but...
Homerboo.
I'm just...
You might end up going to an entire different festival.
I'm going to make an autocorrection here. Homebrewcon.org. Join comrades. Can you spare some hops, brother?
Join JP and myself. Hang out with us.
Yeah, so we've been talking about doing a live Dr. Homebrew version from HomebrewCon.
I'm down. Let's do it. There will be beer there. So.
There will be beer there. I feel weird about flying without our compadre here.
Yeah.
I would feel weird about that.
Yeah, I'll call in and be a guest on the
we'll patch him in from the delivery room.
You can take one of my beers with you, and I'll call in. You can hear the screaming baby in the background.
I think that'd be good. All right, where did that go? There it is right there. Where did that go? Oh. Let me get Chris on the line here. I'm excited to drink this beer. I like cream ales. Chris, are you here, buddy?
I'm here.
All right, thanks, man. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you tonight?
Not too bad, man. So how long you been homebrewing, man?
I've been brewing since about 2010.
2010. Okay. And this is a cream ale, right? Have you ever brewed one of these beers before?
This was my second batch, trying to recreate a pretty successful first batch.
Oh, awesome. Good to hear, man. I've never done a cream ale before. I don't know why. It's just one of those things I've never done. But they seem complicated, like those lighter beers with the kind of weird complexities that cream ales have. It seems like a challenge, and I'm already challenged enough. You know what I mean?
It was just something I picked one day. I got a buddy who doesn't like drinking real beer. He drinks something that rhymes with Coors Light.
Okay.
And
well, at least he's watching his figure. You know?
This.
Rhymes with Coors Light, or it is?
Yeah.
It is Coors Light.
Yeah, it just rhymes. It's not directly related. It just
never.
Rhymes.
Yeah, right. Well, look, I admire your friends for trying to watch their waistline. That's really appropriate. All right, Keith, you ready, dude? You want to start this rocket ship off?
Steer us out to.
We'll do that.
All right.
Okay. So on the nose initially, sorry here. The reason I'm struggling a little bit here, I'm trying to readjust myself, is I had a bottle last night and reading from a score sheet that I filled out last night, and this tastes a little bit different to me than the bottle I had last night. I could have just been me last night, so that could be the problem. But so I'm going to try to combine those two things together and talk about what I'm smelling right now, but at the same time look at my notes from last night as well. And I'm going to say last night 6 more times. So anyway, on the aroma, I'm getting a lot of esters. I'm getting some pears and red apples. Getting also like a slight solvent note. Followed by some sweet malt, maybe a trace of corn, not getting a ton of corn, a little bit of grassy hoppiness, but nothing really off other than that. No diacetyl, no acetaldehyde, just really that pretty medium high esters, and then that solvent note. Color-wise, very light gold. Last night I had a white head on mine, like a low white foam headstand. This one I'm right now, I have like no head at all, but I see Brian's glass over there has a little bit of head, so maybe there's some residue in my glass. Look, there's like nothing.
Huh. That's crazy.
Pretty strange. Anyway, so pretty brilliantly clear.
I think a little bit.
A little bit of haze right now I see. I thought it was last night a little bit clearer. It was in a darker room, but I see a little bit of haze, but overall it looks pretty spot on for style. Light gold, white head, and pretty clear. Flavor wise, I'm getting a light malt sweetness. Not super dry though. A little more sweetness than I would expect for this style. It's not as crisp as I would like to see here. Some hop bitterness. I'd say the balance is still toward the malt sweetness, not the hoppiness. Flavor-wise, in terms of hops, I'm not really getting any hop flavor at all. Picking up some of that solvent and ester character as well. That was, I mentioned in the aroma, carrying over also to the flavor. Beyond that, once again, not getting any diacetyl, but overall it seems a little sweet. My notes from last night say medium-high carbonation. Maybe it's my glass right now, but I'm classifying this one as medium-low carbonation. Too low for style. Medium body, medium-low body. Attenuation could be a little bit higher here, I think. It feels like it's a little sweet. So I'd like to see the body and sweetness be reduced a little bit. No alcohol warming, no hop astringency, no other astringency as well. Overall, I enjoy the beer, but I do struggle with the sweetness level, the solvency sort of character, and then also the high ester in it as well. I would probably look at obviously your yeast handling here in terms of fermentation temperature, how much you pitched, things like that in terms of the both esters and solvent character. I'm not sure what that was, but I think also a crisper body is the other thing I'd really like to see, and maybe a little higher carbonation. There seems to be a little bit of bottle-to-bottle variation in terms of carbonation. Like I said, the one I had last night was a little bit higher carbonation than this one. But I think that helps as well, not make it seem so sweet and a little bit more drinkable. Seems a little heavy to me in the palate overall. Maybe even like to see a little more corn presence. I get a little of the corn flavor, but not I don't it's not really standing out to me. It's a kind of a malty, grainy sweetness, and not necessarily not a lot of corn flavor. Overall, though, I scored it higher, I think, last night than I would tonight. I think last night I gave it a 35 on the bottle I tried, and today I would probably think somewhere in the range around 30.
All right, Brian. Hit him up.
Hey. Yeah, so I noted the bottle condition, good feel, had a nice hiss when I opened it, but then, oops, the magic snake came creeping out. And then, so that's what happened to the bottle we got tonight. So I think Keith got the good bottle to judge. We judged these separately, in advance of the show. And so he might have gotten the one bottle that didn't have whatever this effect is that's making the magic snake creep out of the bottle. And it kept coming. I poured my sample, and I set the bottle down really gently on a paper towel, and it kept coming up. And I put the cap on even, and it crept up under the cap. So I don't know if we're getting a fair representation of your beer, I have to say. But and I didn't get to taste what Keith had at his place. So what I got last night and today, medium Pils malt aroma up front. The malt quality is actually pretty nice, and it has a low DMS, which is to style. It's not super corny as Keith was kind of saying, but there is some DMS there. I felt low spicy floral hop note, slightly grainy and seems big for the style. And there's a hint of kind of a honey-like sweetness in there, which pushed it up into kind of too sweet territory for me. It might have been some of the same thing what Keith is getting in this one. I feel like I got a light kind of like a lemony fruitiness to it. There were some odd esters in there. But yeah, it's it doesn't smell super papery or anything like that, but it's got, with that honey-like, it might be getting towards a little oxidized, but it's pretty slight. Anyway, appearance-wise, it's a nice color. I really like the pale yellow color, and it was mostly clear. The one I had last night had kind of some, it almost looked like little particles, or maybe it was CO2 in suspension, but it wasn't rising. It was just kind of hanging in the glass. I think it was like some kind of really fine particles. Is this bottle conditioned or keg?
Yeah.
Okay, it's bottle. So I might have kicked up some of the yeast. Today it looks pretty clear. I mean, it's a little haze, but not like particle haze or a chill haze or whatever. But yeah, had a white head that poured pretty full and then faded immediately. It just collapsed into these larger bubbles. It just went like kind of like soda pop fizz. Flavor wise, I'm getting a low maltiness with some honey-like notes, and I wasn't sure if I got a little spiciness in there too, but I don't think it's really phenolic. Maybe I thought the sample I had last night was maybe, but sometimes with bottle variation, different things will come to the forefront in one bottle versus another. I don't know. And how JP stored them before we got them too, but I always want to blame him.
I know.
The bitterness is...
My refrigerator must have been too cold. Yeah.
The bitterness is kind of in the right place. It's medium. The beer is fairly crisp. It has some appley esters in the flavor. It's definitely balanced to the malt. So, I don't know. I had this weird thing last night, and I promise...
What'd you have, buddy?
I wasn't tripping. There were no drugs involved, but I was sitting at my table.
That is weird for
and
you.
As I would take a sip of this beer, I had this odd effect where I can taste the hops in it is kind of floral and a little spicy and out of the way, but after I would take a sip and then a few seconds later I would get this odd like aroma effect, like a hallucination, a nasal hallucination almost, of like a dank hop aroma. And I don't know if it was just something I had around me at the table last night or,
Well, you're probably packaging all that pot, all that,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. The packaging operation was removed from the judging area, JP.
Here's something I've learned. Never judge at the trap house. You can't do it because otherwise it's too much.
Yeah, I almost didn't want to mention that because I knew I'd get shit for it, but it was just a weird thing. And it's not happening tonight. So
I'm not the one trapping and judging, okay? That's you.
Probably just going crazy. Fermentation seems fairly clean for the most part, but maybe that's some minor issues. And I didn't get any diacetyl. That odd hop thing kept coming back once in a while. I was like, whoa, what was that? Kind of like that.
Yeah. We just had the lights flicker in the studio, and I was hoping they were going to go out because power outages are always fun, but no luck.
Can we survive a power outage here? Are we on a generator?
Well, we'd have to drink all the beer before it warms up, so that would be tough, but I would do it.
So mouthfeel-wise, medium-light body and a biting, kind of a little bit harsh. Not intensely so, but I feel like it was the sample I had last night was actually more carbonated, and that's where I kind of disagree with Keith, is I felt like the bottle creep version had a lot of carbonation in it. And I set the bottle down in the sink, and it just still kept coming out of there, but... I got like kind of a minerally sharp feeling water profile. It's just a little too drying, although you get some sweetness in the aroma, and then it's kind of drying in the mouthfeel and the finish, and the carbonation is up there. I'm not getting any obvious warmth, so the mouthfeel is just a little bit odd overall. The beer actually has overall has a lot of the desired elements for a cream ale. It just felt a little flat with the kind of honey-like oxidation that was detracting a little bit, and the dryness in the finish and the kind of odd honey-like sweetness in the nose. It's just kind of an odd combination, and just need to get that mouthfeel back into the right place there. It's just too drying, and the body I don't know. It was just a little. It was just a little biting and harsh in the mouthfeel. And
Okay.
again, it's probably bottle variation, so it might be a nice beer in the straight from a bottle that didn't have this little foaming issue. So I guess the DMS wasn't all that high. I was like, you could, if you wanted to drop that back, and I don't know.
You're stuck.
I'm having trouble.
You're flooded right now. What's going on? What are you thinking about?
Well, a lot of my feedback was about some of the DMS that I got in the nose, but it's not offending me as much now. I think I was just being kind of an asshole last night.
Last night, wow. What
Screw
about
this
today?
beer. No.
There's bottle variation. There's asshole variation.
That snake just offended me, and I wanted to find horrible things in this beer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll judge a beer, and it'll have like a gusher even, but you as a judge, you have to taste the beer. So even if it just shoots straight at the ceiling, and you can only catch a half an ounce of it that falls back down from the ceiling,
you got to taste it.
You still have to taste it and swallow it. And sometimes those beers can be pretty decent. It's not that a gusher makes instantly horrible beer. But I think I was kind of offended by that, and I might have scored it a little harshly based on that. So I gave it a 25 last night.
You were bitchy last night.
I think I would go kind of in between that, and a little higher, because it's got a lot of what you need in a cream ale, and mostly it's just balance issues and the damn snake.
So what's your updated? It sounds like you're updating.
Let's go 28.
Okay, well, there you go. That's 3 points. That's
and I think that the sample I'm having tonight is a little bit better, and it's a little bit different in the bottle than the one I had last night even. So and initially the nose on this one kind of was a little harsh to me, but as I drink it, as it warms up, it smoothed out a little bit. So
all right. That's fair enough. Chris, do you happen to have the recipe for this in front of you? I know you're at work.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working.
That's all right.
But I can tell you that it's 6-row, 2-row, corn, and then just a little bit of carapels for the body.
Creamed corn or off the cob?
It's straight off the cob.
Okay, see? Good. It's corn season, so why not fucking use it? I'm just messing with you. Corn. Okay.
We keep blinking here. We might go out.
Yeah, we might go out. Okay, well, do you have any questions for the guys then on this stuff?
I'll try and keep them to a minimum. So the first thing is...
We got time, man.
I just got some feedback from a competition out here in Texas, and very similar, the bottles gushed on the judges.
Bummer.
So what causes that? Because this is I did a 3-gallon batch because it was kind of like emergency. I need to get this done for the competition. So like when I brewed it, the original gravity came in a little bit high. It was a 1055. So it's a little high for what I was looking for. But then it finished out, and when I took my last reading, it was like a 006. So I thought it was fairly dry.
That's funny. Yeah, it's pretty rich, and it's got a fairly dry finish. It's interesting that way.
And so the yeast that I used was the WLP. What is it? The cream ale 080, I think is what it is.
Okay.
So with that, you start off fermentation at an ale temperature. So I fermented at 65 for 10 days, and then I dropped down to 50 for another 10 days. Kind of roused it up and got it going there. But the bottles I consumed before competition and before you guys, I had no gushing problems whatsoever. So is that a contamination issue in some of the bottles? Is it something where there was too much residual sugar when I tried to bottle it? Like what causes that?
I think it's the latter. That's my guess. And one of the bottles I had which is even stranger, one of the bottles I had last night wasn't a gusher at all. There was not even a trace of that. But it's kind of weird to go. I mean, no matter what the yeast is, to go from 65 to 50, no matter what they tell you to do, that just seems like a really strange practice, because you're putting the yeast where it's really, really happy, and then you're kind of putting them in a place where they're not as happy. And I don't know, like, you do the same thing for me working wise, to put me somewhere where I'm really happy working, and then put me somewhere else I'm not going to work as hard when I'm not very happy.
Was that during active fermentation that drop occurred, or was it afterwards?
No, it had pretty much finished up.
Okay.
You said 10 days.
I think the recommendation is so that you can get some of that sulfur, the odors of the sulfur out, and so you kind of let it sit there.
Yeah.
So
let it sit on the yeast longer and absorb some of that stuff. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not getting a lot of a lot of phenols or anything like that, or something that would tell me that it's a wild fermentation in the bottle that's causing that to happen. And I mean, this bottle today, there was a little bit when I opened, there was a little bit of coming up in the bottle, but it wasn't a gusher. It wasn't and it was just it seemed like there was probably a little fermentation happening in the bottle. And not really hey, there's some sort of wild fermentation happening.
Oh, we've all seen way worse.
Right, because if you just,
from commercial beers,
if you put in too much priming sugar for the bottle conditioning, it would be, all the bottles would be the same as long as it was blended well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I use those carbonation tabs on this one just to try and make sure that it was consistent with every bottle.
Okay,
that's kind of weird. Then, I don't know. I would not use the carbonation tabs, and I would go to a more standard. Even those tabs, I don't know. I've never had much success with them. I had a lot of variation bottle to bottle.
Yeah,
I would prefer just mixing up sugar in a bottling bucket and doing that versus. Then the carbonation tabs. I don't know. The tabs are maybe not the same size. They say they are, but who knows? They're coming out.
Well, the tabs, just to me, the act of getting them out of the package. In the end, I went with tabs, and I did have a lot of variation. And then what I ended up doing was keeping a little pot of boiling water next to them.
You kept a little pot?
Yeah. And
again, with the drugs.
I would take.
You're on the devil's lettuce, and that's retarded.
I would take the Cooper's drop and dunk it in the boiling water for a second before dropping it in the water with a pair of tongs or something, just to get anything off the surface of it and get it clean, and then just cap it and be done. But I don't know if that works for everyone. I just have a weird way of doing that, and wearing gloves and all this stuff too is once the package is open, it's been open to the air. Who knows what's gotten in there? It's just kind of sitting on the surface of all the sugars.
Yeah,
waiting to do something in your beer. I don't trust it at all.
Well, I think after the competition and hearing that you also got one, that kind of lets me know that those aren't the most trustworthy thing.
Yeah. But caking is another good way to...
That's true.
Yeah, okay, hear me out on that. I'm working on my keezer. I got my collar built. I just need to actually get the kegs and the CO2 and all that. I'm working on it.
Okay,
good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
it's the way to go. You'll thank us.
Never want to go back.
Yeah.
I think everybody who's told you to do
Well, but then I got to figure out a beer gun, and that's, I hear, is just a mess, too, from listening to the show, so...
It can. I mean, it can be if you're doing if you do it right. Obviously, it's not going to be. But there's cheap ways to go at it. Blickman's a nice dude and he makes a great product. But you don't have to go to the Rari of packaging. You can go a little bit cheaper. Hey, I jammed a fucking bottle wand up the spout and it worked okay.
Yeah.
But the beer gun is definitely it's a good product.
There's a lot of products these days as far as that goes. And
if you're saving for the beer gun, it's hard. You can't go wrong with that. I know it does take some practice.
Yeah.
But anything does, right? So don't let that dissuade you. All right, man. Well, if you don't have any other questions for these guys,
no,
I
think that's it. Don't use carbonation tabs. Lesson learned.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the beer. I'm sorry we didn't really get to judge it for what it probably was.
Yeah.
And our only feedback is, the tabs or something.
Well, I'm working on a couple. Maybe JP will let me send some more. And
of course.
The best first impression, but maybe I can get something that you guys like. So.
Yeah, you got it, man. Let me know.
Again, it had a lot going for it. It wasn't awful. It just had, some interesting issues from that.
Next year, we won't let an asshole judge it, and it'll be fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Thanks, man.
All right.
Stay safe out there,
Thank you.
man.
Cheers.
Bye.
They're already working on kicking me off the show. Is that what's going on behind the scenes?
It is, dude. Yes. Trying to get rid of your ass.
They're going to kill you in Minnesota and bury you there.
I'll sing that Dennis Leary song. I'm an asshole, yo.
Speaking of water chemistry, I'm sure we were talking about that. Our friends at the iDip who are going to be at NHC. I think they're going to be at NHC. They were at NHC last year, so definitely be sure to stop by their booth and check them out. The Smart Water water testing kit incorporates a revolutionary photometer system. It's perfect for home or commercial use because we all know it takes great water to make great beer. It's the only meter on the market that runs water tests with no math needed on your part, which is my favorite part of this whole entire thing. It pairs via Bluetooth and updates your water results instantly to your own personal water profile profile on your app. It's the brain of the system. It allows limitless possibilities, including lab accuracy, free upgrades, test customization, and more. You can then email the results to the rest of your brewing team or post to your Facebook page and let your homebrew club get the lowdown on your base water profile. You can do over 40 different tests. 4 come preloaded, and you can purchase more. Things like total alkalinity, chloride, calcium hardness, pH, sulfate, and much, much more. With only 4 mils of water needed for each test, which is pretty cool. It's a patented, safe, and simple reagent testing method that anyone can use. And did we mention that no math is needed? So go to checkout, go to smartbrewkit.com, buy one, go to the checkout, enter code TBN10, and save $10 on either the standard or the advanced Smart Brew testing kit.
Yeah, those things are pretty cool.
Yeah, good people over there at the old iDip. The folks at the Rare Barrel are using one now.
Cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, looking forward to meeting those guys.
Yeah, it'll be neat. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. We're going to hand some stuff out, and maybe we'll jibber-jabber for a bit. I don't know. Who knows? It's Dr. Homebrew. Hang on. We'll be back.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Are you a member of the White Labs Customer Club? If not, you should be. It's the easiest way to earn free stuff for turning in your old homebrew labels from either Vials or Pure Pitch. All you have to do is save your labels and redeem them for things like free yeast, an exclusive White Labs t-shirt or sweatshirt, and even the opportunity to brew with the yeast man himself, Chris White. Signing up is easy. Just go to whitelabs.com/customer club, fill out the registration form, and then mail in your labels. They will return the favor by sending you awesome White Labs swag. Go sign up today at whitelabs.com/customer club. White Labs, pure yeast and fermentation since 1995.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking with us, at least.
So before the show, we were sipping my beer. Now we're sipping Keith's beer.
Yeah, what are we
Keith's
sipping here?
Double IPA.
Double IPA. All right, well, then you guys are sipping on... No, I'm just kidding.
And this was the Zaka and something else? Or
Zaka, Nelson, and Citra.
Yeah. I like the hop character in this one.
It smells great.
Zingy.
Yeah.
Lemony.
It does smell great, man. What is that? The combination of like the hops are coming together.
Like pineapple
and it's like
and lemon and bright citrus. Just
I get like a dried mango.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like the
mango. Yeah.
Dried mango slices.
Nelson probably would be the one that would maybe the most of that character.
A little diesel-y on the nose.
Any dank at all?
No, I don't get a lot of dank.
Yeah, it's not like oniony. I just wanted to say dank.
Fair enough, man. Okay, let's give some stuff away.
All right.
So we have the $40 gift certificate to grogtag.com to give away, and that goes to our friends with the lowest score. And then we have the Beer Bug to give away, which goes to our friend with the highest score. And in case you don't remember, the Beer Bug, you go to beerbug.com, and it's a really awesome wireless tool that connects to the app on your phone. It drops into your Carboy, and you can instantly see where you start and where you finish gravity-wise. So you can track your fermentation, you can track your gravity, you can track things like your temperature as well, so you can know exactly when fermentation kicks off and exactly when it starts to flatline. So if you want to turn out your beers, or you're going to do some dry hop additions, or you want to kill it like for a mead or a cider or something like that, the Beer Bug is the best tool for that. So, okay, who is the Grog Tag $40, at least your beer will look good gift certificate?
We're going to make Chris's cream ale look really good.
All right, there you go, Chris. Good job, buddy. So that means, Joe, you get the Beer Bug. And I appreciate you guys very much for sending us beers and sending us your love, if you know what I mean. That's it, right? We're done?
Yeah. Well, we could. Keith and I are going to work on our recipe, and you might see it in a commercial, or not commercial, but we hope to release it for that craft brew thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We're working on a couple kits for Kyle over there at Craft Brew. So
we worked on making other people's beer better, but we never did. Tried to make our own beer better. It just keeps getting worse and worse. So working together, we hope to overcome that problem.
That'll happen, man. That'll happen. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I look forward to hearing about it because I'm not going to brew it. Anyway, thanks a lot, everybody, for sticking with us. Thanks to Joe and Chris, and of course, thanks to the fine people at 5 Star for making this whole show possible. Check them out at NHC. Visit all of our sponsors, buy a lot of stuff from them. Go broke buying stuff from them, so we don't.
This is the Brewing Network booth, and come see us.
Yeah, do all that too, but mainly visit 5 Star, More Beer, Beer Bug, if they're there. I don't even know if they're there. Grog Tag, I know will be there. iDip, I know will be there. Yeah. White Labs, I know will be there. Anyway, until next time, everyone, cheers.